If you guys haven't already, I encourage you guys to watch part one of Truck Drive because in part one, I give more context and detail about the overall truck and how I feel about it and the events that led up to what I was expecting to happen in this video. And my goal with part one, setting up part two, is that the events I will describe and the details I will give will match with what you guys will know when you watch part one. Because in this video, I don't really go into much detail about how the overall truck is, because I really want you guys to watch part one so you can get a better understanding and I don't have to explain what the truck is like when I've already said it before. Around the time I uploaded the Sleeping Isn't Easy video, I got an Instagram message from Tucker the same day I uploaded that video about a drive that he really wants to do. And later that day or the next day, he tells me in person that I am the only person other than like his number one friend that he trusts me in the passenger seat in a scenario where he pushes his truck to the absolute limit and there's a real likelihood that we could die and that I wouldn't just like totally freak out or like cause him anxious thoughts or like put fear into him. And I don't like that he's right because that means that he wants me to have a near death experience. And we kind of talked about it a little bit. And his plan was to go more than what we did on the highway in terms of speed on a dirt road down this really long dirt road at our school that's like next to us. And he expects us to just live normally. And for some reason, he encourages me not to use my seatbelt, which is like devious for like no reason. So, fast forwarding to the actual day that he's going to take me out on a drive. It's the same day that I described in my part one video about the class, my lunches going in between classes. So, we relatively finish our lunch early so that we can drive. And already, I'm already scared because he's already put fear into my mind that we're going to push this truck to this absolute limit. And that just horrifies me because his truck is just not safe. If I get in an accident, there are no airbags or like any safety equipment in the scenario of a car crash. So if we flip the truck over, which we literally thought about a couple of times and was actually like a scenario that could happen, I wanted to back out, but I knew that it was too late to do this. So once we start the truck, which by the way takes like 2 minutes to do because for some reason Tucker's truck just needs to be heated on, and the entire time it smells like gasoline. Tucker attaches his Sony like Bluetooth media player thing onto the aux because his truck does not have one because it's from 1980. He goes onto a Spotify playlist, which is meant to drive for like a really long trip that he's planning to do, which I'm not going to, which is probably a good thing. But it's well over 24 hours long, and the problem with it is just that he keeps skipping songs. But eventually he gets to Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, and that gave me a lot of false hope because I thought that since Bohemian Rhapsody was going to play, it was a sign that the drive was going to be normal. Also, the thumbnail's a lie. I'm sorry, but we did not actually crash and flip over the truck. So if you're watching the speedrun, I sincerely apologize because I have an example here and it's probably going to take up most of the video. But here is Tucker's truck. It's in the black. And this is to scale how big the road actually is. And normally you would turn left here because it's during lunch on the highway. And then there's some fast food places up here. And we don't go to that, but the highway in general, I talk about in part one. But he turns right here, and there's a white Tesla here. I don't know why it's purple, but it turns left into the highway. And Tucker's going like 40 down this road. And Tucker's like, don't turn, don't turn, don't turn. And all he does is just flip off the Tesla driver for making a simple turn that was correct. But we get to the end of this T intersection here. And to turn right here is to the parking lot and like to the baseball field. But to turn left here is just the dirt road that Tucker wants to go on. So obviously we turn left, and instantly by the time we get to the brown here, which is where the dirt road actually starts, Tucker's already back to like 40 miles an hour. And you know what's bad when he tells me to hold down the stick to keep the truck skier in like 4 high instead of like it shifting back down to 4 low, which would be really bad. And when we approach this dirt road, Tucker's just flooring the pedal, right? And keep in mind that his truck is like on the verge of like just breaking. I had to hold the stick practically the entire time, right? So we're driving down this dirt road, and by the point we get to like halfway, he's at like 50, which is respectable in a truck that I had a high expectation for going high speed. But by the time we get to like the last fifth, which is about right here, Tucker is supposed to brake, and he does brake, but the problem is that you can't brake within this small range right here. And the only solution is to turn at like a 60-degree turn here and like stop your truck in place around right here. And luckily, we do that. And what made this more dangerous was that this road here is like one of the most active roads near our school. Like, there are sometimes traffic whenever someone stops. There's just full on like a stoppage for like a couple minutes on like Google Maps. It'll show like red. And with that in mind, we successfully drove and turned and stopped here. How gorgeous, right? So that's not where it ends, because we turned back and we approached the school, and we go a bit further into like a neighborhood that is for some reason there, and Tucker is like, should we go back on the dirt road or should we just go into the parking lot? And the entire time I am advocating for this guy to not do that again, because we legit almost died. The truck could have flipped over at any second and we would have been cooked. And by the time we get here, I said turn left, turn left, turn left, turn left. He doesn't turn left. He keeps going down this road. And what made it worse was that instead of being 40 here, he's 40 here. So it allows him to be right here before the dirt road even starts. He's going 50. And he's already in 4th gear by the time we get to this dirt road. And he's still flooring the truck, right? He's going like 55 halfway, and this is where I almost die, because I'm telling him to brake sooner than when he did it last time, and all he does is shift the truck down into 3rd gear, which did absolutely nothing. So in a panic, which is like right here, he decides to brake, and this is a very small space to brake, so maybe when we're right here, we're maybe like 25, and he still has to turn onto here and stop the truck. So he turns, and the truck literally drifts, like full on Fast and Furious style Tokyo drift. And what he told me was that the suspension was tilted left, so the back right wheel was just fully off the ground, and the left side of the truck was just actually like pummeling into the ground. And I cannot tell you what my brain was going through when we stopped, because the first thing I do is look right, and there's just a huge dust storm entering our truck. And not only is the dust storm, but also we stopped traffic for like 5 minutes, which I can't even describe probably how like the mom of 4 was when she saw just a 1980 truck just turn into a dirt patch going like 50. And we were horrified. We were like, oh my god, dude, what did we just do? Pretty much from the drive back from the dirt place that we literally drifted into can be described as a juxtaposition, because at one stance we're laughing because that was the most incredible high school experience we'll probably ever have, and will probably be the one of the best pieces of dad lore we can use at just some point to tell our kids. but also like we could have legit like died or been in serious medical injury, because imagine like Tucker's parents just like get a call that his truck is destroyed, we flipped it over, and like he's in the hospital, and my parents would probably sign me out because they probably would not want me to do this.